and then I got a big fuck you. I know. Makes you...
I'm still stunned. I'm just stunned.
Ronnie has been frozen.
Welcome back, friends, to Divine Feminine Radio, your weekly sanctuary for feminine wisdom in a masculine world. My name is Ronnie Calla. So excited to have Tamara Rose back in the studio today. If this is your first time joining us, Tamara has been deconstructing the Divine Feminine for over 15 years. She's the founder of the Divine Success Method and also my lovely sister. So today we thought we would expand our previous topic from last week about receiving, how women are not so great at receiving. And yes, it's because of patriarchy, but let's look a little bit deeper as far as what those origins really entail. Before we go into too much into that topic, we do have a comment from last week's episode about receiving. Somebody did ask, does competition always tend to be patriarchal? And Tamara, I'm curious what your thoughts on this are. She says, I've been thinking about youth competitive sports lately, and I wonder if it's a patriarchal system. I get that competition is fun, but when it comes to kids, it seems like many parents take it so seriously. On one hand, I love how sports are beneficial for kids. However, it seems like it seems silly that a bunch of adults are assigning coaches to select the best player/performance while others gets cut. How do kids get challenged in their skill set or showcase their talents if not for like competition? So I feel like that's like a whole thing that you could unpack for us, if you will.
Well, it's interesting because we were talking about like competition doesn't naturally exist, right? Like it's not in nature. The closest thing you could get would be like survival of the fittest, but that's not necessarily competition. That's not competing for a thing that's literally like, are you going to live or die? Are you going to like leave the planet, right? Mm-hmm. So is competition inherently patriarchal, I think is like the first question. And I think we have a lot of patriarchal structures. I think we have a lot of patriarchal influence. And if we talk about games and fun and play, that to me doesn't feel patriarchal. Do you see what I'm saying? However, the second that it's like, I think it goes back to like toxic systems. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to wrap everything in patriarchy and like make everything is terrible because of patriarchy. I think we're gonna get up Shitch Creek and no paddle. You know what I mean? Like I think it's just like that might be a terrible self-fulfilling prophecy. However, I think we look at games, we look at fun, but we look at where it's gotten to. And so I think what the listener is actually pointing to is the toxic masculinity influencing something that is meant for development and fun, right? Mm-hmm. And so, I think games have been around forever. As far as like,
we had games in like Roman times even.
Well, exactly. And you could go back to Mesopotamia and there'd be like competitions and games. And so you just go, okay, games and competitions have been around forever. But what you're pointing, like what this listener is specifically pointing to is the toxic masculine side, the shame, the guilt, and like this kind of even goes back, and I think we should also look at, again, the toxic masculine and toxic femininity and the divine qualities, because that's really what we want to take a look like. Like we're here to embody the divine qualities of each gender, of each like
energy.
Yeah. And to say like, it's not men versus women, and it's not, women are good and men are bad, and it's not femininity is this. It's like there's so many diverse aspects of it. So like, for instance, Cece, for whatever reason, she loves cheerleading camp, and it is the bane of my existence. And it went on for like, she did it like 2 or 3 times. And I was responsible for 2 of them, I think.
And how old is she again?
She's 9, y'all. bitch is 9. Like, what in the fuck? Anywho, so like last year I was like that because she was with her dad and her dad was like, oh, well, she really wants to do it. I'm like, not on my watch. And he's like, what is it? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. I am not anti-cheerleading. I wanted to be in cheerleading when I was a kid. My mom was like a cheerleader and like sewed all the outfits when she was younger. We love the gymnastics aspect for sure. But like, and so I was like, I'm willing to give it a try. This feminist is like all about girls. Yeah, whatever. She would come home crying every day with something that like wasn't working. And all I could tell was there was this inherent underlining competition to be the best. And it was like so underlining because like it was nothing they were saying. It was nothing, you know, it was like, who wants to get the spirit stick? But there was so much pressure to get the fucking spirit stick. And there's like 300 kids. And you're like, how does this work out? So you're going to have a loser and a winner and they're all like super young. And so I think there's like the inherent shame and guilt that comes with it. So it's like, this is a really fascinating topic because, you know, there's like winners and losers and who's the best. And it's like so ingrained in our society. Like this last week, Cece came home crying, or no, she was going to sleep crying, reliving some moment of her bestie who had like a certificate of excellence on her wall. And Cece was like, well, where'd you get that from? You know, and it was, she goes, well, you know, the principal gave it to me for this and this and that. It's 9. You guys, it's 3rd grade. Mm-hmm. Cece is like mulling over. So does that mean I'm not excellent? That's the influence, right? Like that, if we were going to touch on what the influence is and what the energy is, that's it, right? And so I think, you know, people tried to cover this up with like, everybody gets a participation award, but like to have excellence in this society means something else is not. And that's what she's battling with, right? And so to be first means you're last. Not that you were like, not the best that day. You know what I mean? There's like no empowering context, it seems like, anymore. And that for me is where the toxicity comes in.
Mm-hmm. That makes perfect sense. So it's not just about kids playing anymore. Like kids playing isn't inherently patriarchal, toxic masculine. But when we bring in all of these systems about guilt and shame and what's underlining of all of everything, then that's when it really like starts to come in and impact like the competition with the kids. I was going to say it reminds me of nonviolent communication and like something I've learned with that. I've been diving into, if you haven't watched it yet, Nonviolent Communication with Marshall Rosenberg. It's a 3-hour YouTube video. It is absolutely fantastic. I've been diving into it.
Can I just say I love a good Jew last name? Like I love a good Jewish last name. I married a Jew. Most of my friends are Jewish. Like I love Rosenberg. I just want to say it all day long. Marshall Rosenberg. Keep going.
He's a nifty guy. So it's 3 hours on YouTube. It's the same Tamara, you went to marriage counseling and you spent thousands of dollars for like the same thing that this YouTube video goes over. And
just to give this a little credibility before you unpack this, what it sounds like, because I am highly skilled and trained in personal growth and development, been doing it for so long. So my ex-husband and I interviewed relentlessly who I was going to use as a marriage counselor. And I land on this gal, like completely intuitive, completely aligned for us, like top notch, right? Yes. Week in and week out, she's basically teaching us nonviolent communication. I'm like, we can't get a handle on our feelings to save our life. We don't know what a fucking feeling is. You got 2 highly skilled personally, like in personal development. I'm like, how do we not know what feelings are? Because we're fucking in our head all the time. So we're like unpacking this. And near the end of like, I don't know, we've been going at this like a year or so. She's like, well, if you want a resource, you can always look up this training. And I was like, well, that fucking makes sense now. You should have given us that at the beginning. So yes, now I'm like huge advocate. We've like broken it out. Like Ronnie's like training the clients too. This is like amazing. So yeah, tell me more about how it relates.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been deep diving in with our clients for the last 3 weeks on this thing, making a whole workbook about it. And like one thing I've really learned is when you use nonviolent communication to accept gratitude or like to say thank you, you're not saying, oh, you're brilliant, you're great, you did a good job, because those are all judgments or perceptions like that you're giving someone else. And you're saying like, oh, I'm the judge of this for you, that like not consciously, most likely not consciously, but when you're saying like, oh, you did a good job, that's like manipulation, like for somebody to do the same action again and again. Or if you're saying like, oh, you're brilliant, you're underlying asserting that someone else exists that's not brilliant. So like in the same instance where Cece's friend got a certificate of excellence, like, oh, she's excellent, but for what? And it insinuates that there's other kids that are not excellent, given like Cece's response. So inside of nonviolent communication, the way that you can compliment or give gratitude to somebody is acknowledging, okay, this is the action that you did that I'm acknowledging. This is the need that it met for me. And this is the feeling that you made me feel because of it. And so I'm acknowledging that you met my need and you made me feel this way. And I thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. That's great. But yeah, it's inherent in the field. It's inherent in the speaking. It's inherent. You know, we have a mental health crisis. We still have a mental health crisis. We had, you know, the pandemic exasperated it. And so those underlining factors of like, where do you feel inadequate? Where do you feel not enough? Where do you feel, you know, and my child has like no reason whatsoever to like not feel good enough or to not feel brilliant, right? Like this is a gifted kid who like, you know, her teachers are always telling her, but it's the pinhole. Like she zooms in on but they didn't say it to me, or I didn't get the thing, you know? And then you also have, for my kids specifically, but like if you're, you know, any other parents listening, like you also have, if you have a really great kid who looks really confident and's got it all together, you don't compliment them as much, or you don't acknowledge them as much. And so that's sometimes the imbalance too, because she's very confident about herself most of the time. It's like, but when I'm with mom, I can let my hair down and tell mom that I feel insecure about these things, you know. Anywho, we went and made a certificate of excellence. Actually, I didn't make it. I told her, I was like, you can make one. She was like, bitch, you're right. She got on the computer, made herself a certificate of excellence, and had me and her dad sign it.
Oh, how cute. I love that.
So, she is doing just fine, y'all.
Amazing. I love it. Well, I hope that answers your question about competition and patriarchy. I know we went a little extended on that, but I would love to dive into like this patriarchal crumble that's happening. Given everything that's happened this past week and this weekend, it's been insane, y'all. Look at the protests that happened over this past Saturday for No King's Day. Like that was incredible to see. I feel like there was one protest in like every city almost across the United States.
I think it was like, I know we had coverage on most of the major cities for sure. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people from all walks of life. Like, I just feel like it was like Republicans and Democrats. I feel like it was just people who are like, look, this is bullshit, A. And if you see the amount of people in each city, you're kind of like, did that election go that way?
If this many people are protesting, what do we think
actually
happened? That's a whole other
topic that
we won't go down that rabbit hole today.
I mean, it's a rabbit hole with some facts, okay? Homie didn't really win that election.
But if we're looking at the 3.5%, like there was research done that we hit that 3.5% with the No King's Day protest. So the background of the 3.5% is that
tell the listeners the background. We were going for the 3.5%.
Yeah, buddy. So if you hit 3.5% of a population in a protest, whether it's peaceful or not peaceful, I think there's
it has to be peaceful.
Oh, it has to be peaceful. Okay.
It has to be. So the study was done that where it was like peaceful protesting versus non-peaceful protesting. Non-peaceful protesting never tipped the scales. The peaceful one did.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's 3.5% of peaceful protesting of a population
Yeah.
tips the scale for when a regime crumbles, essentially. So if you look at like
Hmm.
Roman Empire or
Hmm.
different empires that have happened throughout history, we hit that 3.5% on Saturday with the King's Day protests. So
Yeah.
now,
And when it, like, if you guys go do the research on the 3.5, I invite y'all to do research on everything we talk
don't
about.
take don't
Don't
take
take our
what
word.
we say at face value. Go figure it out. It's fine.
But if you do the research on the 3.5% peaceful protesting and how quickly things crumble, sometimes it's within 4 days. Empires will come down. So it's like we hit it. And so it's the tipping point of like, we're not standing for this bullshit. We're not dealing with your bullshit. Like, we don't agree with your bullshit. And isn't it weird? It's only 3.5%. You think it would be
Hmm.
more.
Yeah, you would think,
So you would think.
but anyway, so yeah, sometimes it's within 4 days. Sometimes the regime or president or whoever just resigns. Sometimes they are overthrown, but who knows? We are now, and it's 100% of the time that it
Hmm.
crumbles. It's not just sometimes; it's 100% of the time. So now we know that we are on that pathway and on that trajectory for sure. It's been
So
confirmed.
congratulations to all the people
Congratulations.
protesting in the street, protesting energetically, protesting with your dollar, like against the oligarchy. Like that's really what's next too, is like going, okay, where else can we protest with our money and say enough's enough because we have too many oligarchies in place. We also had an amazing weekend of energy. That shit was off the chart. So
Hmm.
like amazing energy coming in, potentially another timeline shift. So, like, the collective is also contributing to the energetic shift. So if you guys, we've had who's Rebecca Aaron Brown with Schumann resonance, right? She's been on in the past, but it's like the Schumann resonance, if you think things are happening to us, you're going to miss the fact that we're also as a collective like amplifying what's happening with Mother Gaia. Like the earth is shifting as well, and we're all part of it. So it's all connected. It's
Hmm.
fascinating and uplifting and amazing.
Absolutely. It's beautiful to see. So, as we're talking about like the patriarchy crumbling, we've been noticing really since like last week when we talked about women receiving. Like, as the patriarchy is crumbling, we're noticing like divine feminine uprising, of course. And with that, more women stepping into their divine feminine capacities and power. And
Mm-hmm.
so, we're noticing like that divine feminine power of receiving, that divine feminine power of like being bold and fierce, owning your value, owning your worth, and what you bring to the
Mm-hmm.
table and the things that have stood in the way of that. So, since our conversation last week about women receiving, we've been in this inquiry of like, well, what else keeps us from receiving? And
Mm-hmm.
Tamara, you've noticed specifically in your life
Mm-hmm.
that like when you are doing, when you're like task doing, or tell me if I'm wrong on this, but
No, hit me with it. Hit me
when you're
with it,
like
baby.
task doing,
Yeah.
the like cleaning, cooking, dishes, whatever, men, when you've been in relationships with men in the past, they have typically liked that. Or if you have not done, like if you've contributed in other ways, like financially, or hired somebody else to do the doing, or energetically contributed, they're like, you're not doing anything. Why aren't you doing anything?
It's wild. It is fucking mind blowing. I'm having
Yeah.
this epiphany this week, and I'm like, what is all of this about? It's another, like, this is what patriarchy looks like. Like, men. Okay. Should we start unpacking that? Do we need to unpack divine and divine and toxic real quick? Do you
Yeah,
think?
let's do that.
Okay.
Let's do it. So,
Okay. because here's the deal. Y'all, if you hop in and you're just like randomly hopping in on an episode and we talk about divine feminine, or you see us on a social media post and you hear divine feminine, I think the default is there's a feminine and masculine, and feminine looks this way, masculine looks this way. And that's actually not the case. Okay. So we quadrant it out for ease of ingesting this. I just like literally I'm thinking back to school when I was learning Spanish and it was as almost ice on, and like I could fucking do like you, he, she, it, we, you, that, like fucking that's what I remember. Calculus in college, I don't fucking remember. Okay. Anywho, so we have like the quadrant system where we're like, okay, there's toxic masculinity, toxic femininity, Then there's divine feminine and divine masculine. Our goal here inside of these conversations is to always like illuminate the differences in each and allow the opportunity for all of us to step more into divine masculine and divine feminine. Doesn't matter what your fucking gender is. You can function with all of it. We have some scale of it. You know, maybe you're like 80% divine masculine and you're like 20% divine feminine. Rock on. Maybe tomorrow it switches. I don't fucking know. But Ronnie, will you give us some qualities and traits of each of these? Because I feel like this is where you really excel, is like breaking this shit down.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll start with the wounded traits and then I'll talk about the divine traits. So if we talk about wounded feminine, we'll say feminine, whether it's wounded or divine, is very heart-centered.
And wounded is also toxic. So you guys just want to, like, as you listen, it's like wounded is also toxic. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll use them interchangeably. Yeah. So whether it's divine or wounded toxic, feminine energy is heart-centered. It comes from like heart, intuitive emotion. And wounded feminine is more like victim manipulation. Like when you have a wounded heart, there's like not enough, not worthy, needy. Yeah. Scarcity for sure. Like I can't do it all. Maybe like single mom energy almost, where like you're trying to do everything for everyone else and my needs are never getting met and the energy is always going out and never to me. So there's that like scarce energy.
And interestingly enough, with toxic femininity or wounded femininity, women have to be in a place of neediness to get their needs met. So you, like most women, are going to be strung out, you know, running on fumes before they actually take care of themselves. So it's all toxic, right? And they won't ask for help until then. Or they think everybody should just see it and take care of it then. So those are all the toxic traits that come with the wounded feminine.
Yeah, that's a great distinction. And then we look at wounded or toxic masculine. That's like all patriarchy, right? So I like to think of a gym bro. It's not every guy that goes to the gym, but it's the gym bro that's like working 80 hours a week and then he's going to the gym like 5 hours a day, like trying to prove his worth and value by how much he's doing, like probably trying to prove how valuable he is for other men and maybe for other women, but definitely disconnected from his emotions, disconnected from like heart-centeredness, more like logic brained in his head about everything that he does, and probably gets value out of crossing things off of a to-do list rather than like sensing it intuitively of like what's going to move things forward or make the difference. Does that track for you?
Yeah. And there's like there's definitely no intuition at all in the toxic masculine. So it is just very like, here's the list. This is what you like. This is what I was told to do and I'm just going to do it. And how do I want to say this? Men are the center of the universe. So I actually think almost all men in toxic masculinity are trying to prove their value and worth to other men. And so they only listen to men. They're proving their value and worth to other men. There's like, you know, it's like this weird thing where they're like, well, I'll do that for a girl if men think it's good, but not doing it for a girl just because like he's so in love and heart connected, right? And so I think that's really fascinating. And so there's a strong pull with both of the woundeds and the toxic traits that the male is at the center of the universe. So for women, the husband or the male children, or you know, God is a man, or like whatever. It's just like, it's always thinking about others, mostly men. And that's how we were trained. And so that's the toxics for both. Yeah.
And you say men are the center of the universe. It's not necessarily what we want or what we like desire, but it's like the male centeredness and a patriarchal framework in society. That's just what we're pointing at.
That's just what we're pointing out. Do we all want that? No. Is that what's happened? Yes. How do we know it? Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. It's all men. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Adam came first, Eve came from a rib. What the fuck?
What kind of bullshit?
Like this thing's getting passed down. You're like, what? Who's in government? Men. Why? I don't know. They develop later. That's what everybody says. I don't know when they became better than women. Like, at what point did that happen? Yeah. And then we had that one comment where the lady was like, a man's in charge of a man's the head of the household. He can't even find the ketchup in the fucking fridge. Like, what in the, man, did you see, like, back in the Kamala election, just real quick, one more rant on this. Back when Kamala announced her presidency and you had Divine Nine come together, the women, like Black women, Divine Nine is the top sororities for African American women, or Blacks or POC, interchange all those terms. And so they came together very skillfully, like hosted Zooms, raised all this money with like $1 million in one night or some shit like that, like skillfully. Then you had these, it was like white men for Kamala or something, I think is what they said. And they couldn't get the Zoom running. It was like an absolute chaotic shit show. And you're like, you shouldn't be running countries. Like, you can't run a Zoom.
Yeah.
Like, yay for effort, but like, there's holes in the system, y'all. Okay. Anywho, sorry.
So if we move into the divine qualities of each, so divine feminine, there is receiving, and there's different expressions of the divine feminine. We have the 4 divine feminine archetypes, but I would say at the center of it is like, again, emotional, coming from the heart, very connected to intuition, connected to your worth, your value, what you bring to the table. And there's lots of receiving. So receiving the opportunities, receiving the abundance, receiving the love, getting your needs met, like everything that is. And I would say there's divine orchestration, to where you're not the conductor. Sorry. In an orchestra, you're the conductor. You're not the one playing all the instruments, doing all the things, but you're conducting all the instruments so that you can make beautiful music.
That's it. And so you have to allow people to do things for you, and you have to allow people to serve you, and you have to be not the one in control. See, so control is actually a toxic trait. You have to be an allowance and surrender and in a dance and trust, right? So like all those are divine feminine for sure.
Awesome. And then divine masculine is, again, more in that like logic brain, but when connected to divine, it's about taking divine action. And I think people will talk about divine masculine, divine feminine in relationship, like, oh, I'm in my divine feminine and my man is in my divine masculine and he's like my caretaker, my protector. I would say like divine feminine doesn't need anyone to protect her from anything because she's like so in her power, but there is a tending to needs that the masculine does.
It's not a protect her from the bear. That's toxic. Or protect her from other men. Oh, that's like men created that whole fucking spectrum.
Yeah.
It's protect her energy, protect her intuition, protect her magic. So what I notice is like men view women as men without penises and with boobs. Like that's it. So, and that's how we've been structured, by the way. That is like patriarchal framework, right? So you go like that whole ice bath thing. I'm like, I tried. I dip my toe and be like, not for me. Like cold lake water, even that, not quite for me. Steam, hot bath, saunas, those are for me. And then lo and behold, we find out that the heat is regulatory of female hormones. Men, ice bath, but we just think women are just men. So we think like, well, you should wake up at this time and you should do it this way. And we're on different cycles and everything else. So if a man is actually in his divine, he's going to protect the energy of the female he's with, of the feminine he's with. Doesn't have to be female. We've seen Darshan. No female parts needed. Okay. But like to protect and serve that energy field, because men have a greater capacity for action, for doing. They're on a 24-hour cycle. It resets every day. Women, I'm like some mornings I'm so fucked up. I'm going to go. Like this morning, I went back and took a nap. I woke up, I was up for 4 hours, and then about 8 o'clock, I went back and took a nap. Ronnie called and was like, why are you taking a nap so soon? Because I fucking need more sleep. But like, if a dude comes in and he's in his toxic masculine traits, if he's in his toxic masculinity, he'll say things like, why are you sleeping? You should be up. You should be out of bed. You should. Because that's how he sees himself. Instead of, oh, babe, you're sleeping some more. Let me get out of the bed quietly and let you sleep. And then later when you wake up, I'll have coffee ready. So,
yeah.
Just one example.
I like
so
how you put
protecting
that.
the energy.
Yeah. Like a caretakerness, like
yes.
tending to her nervous system, tending to her energy, like very forward thinking when it comes to taking care of her, what she needs and her energy, for sure. So when it comes to action, for example, a toxic masculine will be like, here's my list. I'm just going to get everything done on my list because it just needs to get done. And I get value and worth out of everything that I do.
And the greatest example of this is somebody who's in sales and they say, make 50 phone calls a day. And you're like, okay. And you're like, if you make 50 phone calls, one will be a sale or eventually like whatever, right? And there's no intuition, there's no guidance, and there's no like, where are you reaching out? And there's no, who are you connecting with? There's nothing else other than I'm making 50 phone calls a day. You know, it's like, well, at some point, something's got to give, right? Are you looking at why you're not productive? Are you looking at why they aren't closing? Are you looking at like the energy behind it? Are you shifting any energy? No, I'm making my 50 calls a day because they said make the 50 calls a day. That probably no worky.
Yeah. So the divine masculine is like the 80-20 rule. Like 80% of the things on your to-do list aren't going to make a difference anyways. What are the 20% that are going to make a difference? Sense into that intuitively and then only take action on those things. You save 80% of your day.
Yeah. And just so our listeners know, again, this goes back to like, you can be in toxic masculine and still be a woman. I know I was. So it's not about going toxic masculine over to toxic feminine. It's like, I can just go from toxic masculine to divine feminine.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks so much for listening. Real quick, if you resonated with anything we've said so far or had any new insights, chances are someone in your circle needs to hear this too. Think about that gal that's ready for her next breakthrough to step more fully into her divine feminine. Take 10 seconds and share this episode with them. Your share could be the catalyst for her next transformation. You got your person? You sent it to them? Okay, cool. Let's get back to the episode. Yeah, so that breaks down the 4 quadrants, if you will. And when we're looking at women receiving and not being so good at it, and then like men like it when women are in doing, and men like it when women take care of things, and when men really only see women contributing when they're doing tasks, not necessarily. Sometimes, I would say in Tamara's experience, in my experience, not necessarily when we're contributing financially or contributing energetically. Like, it's just not as honored, if you will.
Yeah.
So I did some research also.
Do tell.
It makes my stomach hurt because I found a new term that I've never heard of before. And I think you're going to crash out when I say okay.
Is it my life?
No, maybe. But just the fact that it exists, I think I was like, oh my gosh, what the fuck is this?
There's a term for it.
There's a term. Okay, so it's called, ready? It's called benevolent sexism.
That tracks.
Yeah, so it's...
Yeah, if you want a really good book, All About Love by Bell Hooks. She's got some good terms in there. She might have coined this. I don't know.
No. So
benevolent sexism. Yeah.
Yep. So this refers to attitudes and beliefs that appear positive or well-intentioned towards women, but ultimately reinforce traditional gender roles and maintain male dominance. Unlike hostile sexism, which is which is outwardly derogatory. Benevolent sexism operates under the guise of kindness or protection towards women. It portrays women as delicate, nurturing, and in need of men's guidance and protection. So it's that thing you were saying about
Yeah.
men need to protect women from other men, like that,
It's
whatever
made
that
up.
is. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all
like
made up.
men, go fucking knock some, just stop being a douchebag and stop hanging out with douchebags and then knock around the douchebags and you would wipe out all the douchebags and then we wouldn't need protection from men. So weird.
So easy. It could be that easy, but
Could
no,
be.
men like to feel
No,
valued and worthy.
I need to protect the woman. You're like, just fucking deal with the icky men. Deal with the icky men.
Yeah.
Don't protect me from icky men. Go deal with the icky men. Eradicate them. That would be great.
Yeah. That would be nice if someone were to take action on that, but
So
no.
benevolent sexism, absolutely 100%.
Yeah. So
100%.
essentially, men like to feel nurtured, like their first love, like if you look at like Freudian psychology, like their first love is their mom. And then when
Mm-hmm.
they have a relationship or a woman that nurtures them and takes care of them and does these tasks, like it feels like a maternal care, if you will. And
Yeah.
then it's that,
It's resonant for them
yeah.
energetically. Yeah. Go ahead.
And then it's resonant for them, and so it tracks with the benevolent sexism of like unconsciously maybe keeping women in their place in a patriarchal framework.
Well, so I heard that, God, I don't know if I'm going to get this quote right. We empowered women to seek jobs outside of the home. That was feminism, right?
Mm-hmm.
We empowered women to work outside the home, but we never educated or trained men to do the domestic labor. So in actuality, what we created, what was her punchline? I think it was like servitude or something. It wasn't actually freedom of choice. We just created more workload. So I think, I'm 44 years old. I said it for everybody. It's 44. My daughter thinks it's something else. And I say it's something else, but it's 44. My mom was in the boomer stage. My mom was one of the first to like be able to own property and do these things. And she did it all because of the benevolent sexism, right? So she did it all. Here's the fascinating thing. And I think this is also one of these like amazing trends that's happening that you'll hear on some of the socials, which is, men in the dating scene specifically, they don't talk about that they voted for Trump or they're Republican. And they also say like non-political. Like I haven't been on a dating app in a long while, okay? But I remember if I saw non-political, I would swipe. I'd be like, fuck that. What the fuck? Like take a stand. What?
Mm-hmm.
And you're probably lying. You probably did vote for Trump and saying you're non-political, right?
Yeah.
And it was this thing where men are drawn, Republican men, I think most men are drawn to liberal women. They're drawn to the freedom. They're drawn to the like owning of themselves. But I don't think it's mostly intentional. But once the men are in the relationship with the woman, they don't want that. They want it like their mother gave it to them. And I saw that, like, that was why my parents got a divorce. They were married for 10 years. My mom was like the free-thinking liberal hippie. I mean, I didn't see all of them, but there were toga parties and weed when I was small. And I thought the roach clip for the weed, I would put it in my hair and I thought it was like a pretty feather clip. I didn't fucking know. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that was what they did. But what my father wanted was a woman like his mom. And so he did everything he could do to house her like that. And she ended up having an affair and like cheating on him. And he was like, "Can you believe your mom?" I was like, "I fucking can. Can't you? Like, do you see who you married and do you see who she became? Like, that is not the same person." And so I think that's like the most eye-opening example I could have had in my whole life was that right there. And I see it all the time. It was like I became the breadwinner in my relationship with my ex-husband. But then I also was responsible for all the thinking and all the doing and all the training him on his house chores and his like parenting.
Mm-hmm.
And we divorced after 4 years of that, of me being the breadwinner and him having house chores, because he just wouldn't do it. Like there was a straw that broke the camel's back. I was like, look, Cece's room needs to get clean. Everything needs to come out. Everything needs, and he's like, that's ridiculous. I got my housemates in. We took everything out of Cece's room. I put everything back one by one. We had a huge stack for Goodwill. It just happens, by the way, Ronnie, when you have kids, like every so often you want to clean out that whole fucking room and be like, you don't want any of this anymore. I know you don't, because you just.
Oh, yeah.
So I did that. And then I had this little pile, and he didn't participate in any of it. It was me and the two housemates. So I'm doing all of the others. I'm making all the money. I'm in charge of all the finances. I'm giving everybody money just for money's sake. And then I have to do all that other stuff. Because he's like, he would just be like, that's ridiculous. I'm like, I didn't ask you if it was ridiculous. I asked you to just do it. Like, it needs to get done. I didn't ask for your opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
What is that, by the way? I don't need an opinion on it.
Yeah.
And this one thing he said to me right when we got done, I was like, okay, I did the whole room. Here's this one stack I need you to go through. He was like, fuck you. And I was like, excuse me? He's like, you fucking da-da-da-da-da, and you didn't even finish. He was yelling at me. And I was like, I looked him straight dead in the eye, and I was like, just so you know, when you look back on why we're getting a divorce, I want you to remember this moment right here. This moment's going to go down in history. And I etched that in my brain. Can you believe that? You're like so stunned.
I'm like, he did what? Wait, when was that? Was that right? Was that after you said you were getting divorced or before?
No, it's before. It was before. I was just like, and I was so appalled. It might have been just a few months before. And I was
oh my
so
gosh.
appalled. I was so angry. I was so like unbelievably angry. And I was like, what in the fuck? And so that was like, that's the whole epitome though, right there.
Yeah.
Right?
Like you're
That
literally
is the
doing his job. Like he said he didn't want to work. You took over to be the breadwinner. You said, okay, you don't want to work. Go stay home with Cece and be a house husband and take care of her. And like that was his whole thing. And then he was like, well, I can't take care of Cece and clean the house. And then you're like, okay, well, let's get a house cleaner. And he was like, well, I can't take care of Cece and blah, 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 blah. You're like, okay, let's get a housemate who will also babysit Cece. And then it's like, okay, we have a housemate babysitting Cece. We have a house cleaner. What the fuck are you doing? And then when you ask him to do this one thing, he still says fuck you to you?
Yeah. And I had said, look, I'm going to give you all week to get it done. By Friday, come Friday, if it's not done, I'm going to just do it because it needs to get done. And then at the end, and I was like, okay, we did everything. Here's the pile that I need you to now handle. I've done the entire room. We spent like 3-4 hours, the three of us. Here's the pile I need you to finish going through because we're all tanked.
Yeah.
It was like, 4 hours of just like, and then I got a big fuck you. And I was like, I know. Makes you.
I'm still stunned. I'm just stunned.
Ronnie has been frozen literally since that story.
My mouse just dropped.
I know. And, when people go like, I'm like, it's not like there was a date for 2 years or sexy time for 2 years either. So you just go like, there was none of that. And so, and we brought it up in therapy. Okay, here, earmuffs. And here we go. Earmuffs, kiddo. I don't fucking know. But we brought it up in therapy and he's like, well, Tamara used to initiate and she used to give me, and like, and I would be like, okay, but I'm literally doing all the things. Like, you couldn't pick up even the initiation to like go on a date or like intimacy or like anything. He's like, well, I tried. I go, really? He's like, well, we need a babysitter. I'm like, we have a live-in babysitter. Well, I don't want to ask her. I'm like, great. We're done. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like every single door is open. Like, I don't know what else to do. So that's the, and that's the part of the patriarchy is like male entitlement, and it's like, it always flows one way. And
Hmm.
so
I was gonna say that's weaponized incompetence too.
100% for y'all who haven't researched this, please research weaponized incompetence.
Hmm. It's like I saw a woman who was painting her walls and the man just looked like a toddler did it. Like she asked for help and it looked like a toddler did it. And it's not like you're incompetent of doing something and then you go, "Oh, I'm gonna research it and figure it out." It's like
Right.
I'm incompetent with it and I don't know how to do it, therefore I'm gonna do it terribly so that my partner won't ask me to do it again. And it's
100%.
again not
And
conscious most of the
I don't think it's,
time.
yeah, I don't think it's conscious. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think men are walking around being like, oh, I'm going to like do this awfully so I never have to do it again. I don't
Yeah.
think they're doing that. I think some of them maybe are doing that. I don't think all of them are doing it. I think what men are like, men consistently, I hear this all the time. So glad I'm dating in this period of my life. I hear it all the time. It's like, well, I just don't know how to do that. I'm like, look, if this was a sports game, you would figure out how to understand the statistics so you could like fucking understand the game better.
Hmm.
Or you would do research or you would like look up. I'm like, you don't care. You don't care to know. You don't care to learn. You don't care to be interested. Well, we just unpacked the whole male loneliness epidemic too. Jesus Christ.
Yep.
And so so you don't care to, Brian would just look at me and say, well, I don't know how to organize. And I'm like, so fucking learn. It's been 4 years. Like, pick up a fucking YouTube video. Like, there's organizers slinging their shit all over my fucking social media page because I care.
Yeah.
Learn a new way of being, learn a new way of doing things,
Yeah.
learn something. But the learning only happens if you care about something enough. And so I think what's really being said is, I just don't care about that. I know you care about that, but I don't care about that. Because I don't care about that, I'm not doing anything about that.
Hmm.
And that's where we go, men are the center of the universe. So it has to pass through a filter. And a lot of times in relationships, does he care about it? Then it becomes important. If he
Hmm.
doesn't care about it, it is not important to the rest of the family. And I think the difference between patriarchy and matriarchy is women, it's not about what I care about. It's like what we all care about. What's
Hmm.
good for all of us. And a lot of times that means putting women in the divine feminine, not women, divine feminine in the center of the
Hmm.
space.
100%. So as we're deconstructing all of the things that get in the way of accessing divine feminine, I think for people hearing this, maybe it could be easy to say like, oh, well then like what do we do about it? Like we're at the effect of all these things of like men being this way and weaponized incompetence and like the what did I say?
Nonviolent
Benevolent
communication. We're gonna go right
bene-
back there. So,
yeah, benevolent sexism, like all these things existing,
Mhm.
like what do we then do about it to like live with it, to change it, to like how do we then access divinity when all these things exist on the planet?
You have to make a choice. There's always, look, and this comes back to everything that we chat with our clients about. If you're listening to this and you're pulled to something, make a choice to make a stand for something. And that choice and that stand doesn't mean you have to fight with your partner now. The choice in the stand can be like, we're going to have a really straight, direct conversation. Maybe use the nonviolent communication. But straight conversations always create something new.
Hmm.
Like, that's always it. So for me, it doesn't matter if it's a contractor, my kid's old school, my ex-husband, you or somebody. I'm always going to have this straight conversation, and it doesn't have to be a shitty conversation. It can be straight and loving, unless shittiness is needed. I don't know if it's needed, but like the nonviolent communication is always helpful. But like, you have to first just make a choice of like, what do you want your life to be like? And I think enough of us are starting to make a choice of like, I think we know not patriarchy. I think we know not toxic masculinity. I think we know like not broligarchy.
Yeah.
But we're like, okay, but what is possible then? You're like, I don't know. I've got to go to my massage at some point today. So like that's on my I'm going to take care of my energy field. I say no a lot. Like I say no a lot, and I take care of my energy field, and I take care of my well-being, and I honor me, and then the environment starts to revolve around that. But like, sometimes it takes training the field and retraining the field and, wherever you are on the path.
Mm-hmm. And I sense it goes back to the 3 pillars that we work with inside with our clients. So pillar 1 is nervous system work. Like you can't make a difference with anything if you're stuck in fight, flight, fawn, or freeze, survival, burnout, exhaustion, like those toxic traits, right? So
those will keep you in the patriarchal system, by the way. Mm-hmm. Like being strung out and doing everything and being everything to everyone. I don't want to say it was by design, but like women can't get out of it unless you tend to the nervous system and like recalibrate it for sure. Sorry, keep going.
Mm-hmm. Well, and what would you say are some of the ways women can tend to their nervous system? Like if you could do like 3 easy like implementations after listening to this podcast.
I mean, are they going to be easy? I don't know. I think they're easy, but like, no doom scrolling at night and go to sleep. Like fucking get a good night's sleep. I know if I don't get a good night's sleep, well, I take a nap. Okay. But like I prioritize how I go to sleep and when I go to sleep. Like sleep is always the number one thing. Like your body, and women need more sleep than men. And depending
that 8 hours bullshit that was built for men, sorry to say.
Yeah, some women are 10. Some men are like 6, like and men love that they're 6. They're like, I'm 6 all the day. I only need 6. It's like their badge of honor. So think of anywhere from 8 to 10 women. And depending upon your cycle and the time of the month, you might need more. So like, I don't wake up to an alarm. I go, unless I'm hosting an event or I have to catch a flight, I don't wake up to an alarm. So, and I let my body fully rest. So creating the conditions for really good sleep. That's one. Mm-hmm. But that might be 12 steps. So I don't know. I would say a meditation practice. Like I was just talking to someone this morning and it's like your brain is having a thought. You hop on the thought train. You're off to the races. And there's like, this person's had anxiety for 2 weeks. Like can't get off of it. Is now having dreams about nothing. It's just anxious. And so what we do instead of learning how to meditate and learning how to train our brain, what we do instead is we take a Xanax or, I need an upper. We smoke pot. Yeah. Or there's like, how many other things do we put in our body to try to relax instead of training the brain to just fucking relax? Do you know how fucking relaxed I am all the time? Because I just train my brain, And so if you're like, well, I don't know how. Yeah, nobody knows how to meditate. That's why you learn how to meditate. Like,
nobody knows how to do sports and soccer until you like learn the rules and like get out there on the field and kick some ball around.
Yeah. Oh, we're back to that learning thing. You got to want to learn. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, am I going to go like hop on an NBA field right now? No. NFL field. I think I missed. It was in an NBA court and an NFL field.
I said soccer. I'm just bringing. We're
shooting from the hip here on these sports analyses, So like, but it would be the same. Like, do you just hop in the water and naturally know how to swim a mile? No, but if you train enough, you can. So it's the same with meditation. So to think like you should just know how to do it or you're not doing it right, that's actually the whole journey of meditation. So I would say lots of sleep. I would say meditation for sure. And then really fucking honoring your nose, y'all. Like, do not disturb on your phone when it's your time. Wouldn't that be wild, y'all? And when you say no, you fucking mean no, and you just follow through on the no. Don't compromise. Don't try to make it work. If it don't work. The shit will figure itself out. Trust me.
I thought when you said nose, I thought you meant your nose like on your face, not like no, like yes and no. But yes, honor your no when you say no.
And when you smell that thing, you can honor your nose too.
Yeah.
Smells so good.
Wonderful. Well, when I want to ask, like, how you're sipping some juice. How do you anchor in your divine feminine, like on a day-to-day
Oh,
basis?
sugar, you know why I do that. We on a juice cleanse right now. I mean, not we, just
Not
me,
me. I did
just
mine like
me.
last month.
I think one of the things that I'm doing a kitchen remodel, which means I'm now like 6 weeks in. So I started with a juice cleanse. I'm in my second juice cleanse of this thing. I haven't had a quiche. I don't know when. I'm really missing my quiche right now. I don't have an oven yet. But the juice cleanse every 4 weeks. And I started noticing I this is what I think. As you start to honor the divine and you start to open up to your gifts, you will become more aware of your sensitivities. I don't know if you become more sensitive. I think maybe we just become more aware of our sensitivities. Sensitive to pollution, lights, sound, toxins. And so I put my juice cleanse off I was thinking my kitchen would be ready. So I was putting my juice cleanse off a little bit. Man, my body hurt. Neck, head, gut, hip. I had some like crazy ass gut thing happening the night before I started my juice cleanse. And it's like, none of that is actually normal. None of that's normal. And so for me, the juice cleanse is the reset of my energy field, you know? And
Hmm.
so people are like, they get really in their head. How do you do it? I don't know. Like, just look up a 3-day juice cleanse. They're like, I can't not eat. So have a salad in the middle, like make it easy on yourself because you guys, the goal is never to do everything perfectly. That's toxic. Femininity is perfection. We're going for like better than last time, better than yesterday. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so, it's a little bit like dip your toe in the water. But for me, the juices, a lot of people cleanse in lots of different ways. Some people do fasting, but for me, the juices are high vibrational fruits, veggies, pressed. I think they're pressed something. I don't know. Cold pressed. I'm always going with suja. I love suja. I don't like, and it's not super sweet.
Hmm.
But at the same time, fruits are okay. Sweet is okay. Jesus, people will be like, there's so much sugar in that juice. I'm like, well, there is in your Coca-Cola too, so you should just keep fucking drinking that. I don't know what to tell you, guys.
So what's like the biggest difference you notice for yourself? You say it's high vibrational. Like, what does that mean to you?
It's a living plant, and so you're getting the nutrients of the living plant as close to the plant as you can get them. And so, everything has energy. Meats have the energy of the being that you're eating, so like that has an energy. Not that any of it's wrong, right? But you're getting the natural veggie. And so for me, I feel a difference in my body. My body feels like it's healing for 3 days. The gut heals. My gut feels better. My intestines and my digestive system feel better. And like overall, I just feel like I have more energy at the end of 3 days. Do I want food? Yeah. Fuck yeah, I do. I've been doing this every 4 weeks for, gosh, how many years? Probably 6 or 7 years now,
Oh,
every
wow.
4 weeks. I think it's been that long. And your body will heal in an alkaline environment. So the body is also healing based off of the fact that it's getting an alkaline environment. And an alkaline environment in your body will exist when you have 70% fruits and veggies. So a juice cleanse is like, psh, that covered it.
Oh, wow. I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a great study that was done back. I was in multiple car accidents. But the one that really totaled my car, I started studying this one guy and I went to a 70% fruit and veggie diet. I had the most energy I'd ever had in my whole life. And I was in my 20s. I was swimming mile things. It was post car being totally totaled. My gut was in great shape as well. So, I try not to just say fruits and veggies. Don't judge them. Just try it. Just 70%. Like, how are you going to get them? Who cares? Just put them in, see how it
Hmm.
goes. It's going to
Hmm.
be better than anything else we're eating.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Anything else that you do to honor your divinity or expand your divine feminine on a day-to-day basis?
I sit with my flowers. I cuddle with my cat, which is very respiratory. I don't have like a strong schedule of to-dos, which allows me to really follow my intuition, although I still am a very active doer, but it's all intuitive based. Sometimes I tried to move that oven. I shouldn't have done that. That was definitely ego involved. It fell on my toe on Saturday. Baths for sure. Like, I mean, I am constantly 3 p.m. I'm in a bath. I get my massage every other week on Mondays, and I get my house cleaned every other week on Mondays. Not during the kitchen remodel, but within the next 2 weeks, I will be back on track. But today is massage, juice cleanse, and then house cleaning on Friday. So those are all things that allow me to allow me to receive. I don't know if this was for you when you were getting your house cleaned, but like when I first got my house cleaned, I wanted to help.
Yeah. Yep.
Fuck.
I felt bad asking her to go back and like she missed a spot or like, oh, hey, like I was just like, I just want to get out of your way.
Yeah. So if you're listening, you want training and receiving, hire a housekeeper and then sit on your hands and request things. It's great. And I love my housekeeper and she loves me. She's been around for years.
Oh, yeah.
And I trained her. I trained her in how to make my bed. God, I make my bed every morning. It makes me feel so good too. It's like, it looks like a hotel bed.
Yeah. So these are all the things that you've incorporated that number one, tend to your nervous system, and number two, support you in accessing more of the divine feminine.
Yeah. Yeah. Because my brain isn't going on, what do I miss? What else do I need to do? What else do I need to get to? I've just trained myself in like the being and the receiving.
So I realized earlier I said like the 3 pillars that we work with inside of our clients. So like the first one being the nervous system work. The second one being like clearing the core belief or clearing like the energetic root of whatever is there. So if we're talking about like patriarchal systems, there's like guilt, there's shame, there's not valued, not worthy, not enough. So what you do when you're looking at making a change and stepping more into your divine feminine, you want to empty the cup of like all of that patriarchal bullshit that's getting in the way.
Yeah,
for the listeners.
For the listeners. Yeah. How because the main question that you're about to give them some fucking good stuff, pay attention, right? Is that, well, I'm already patterned to do this, right? Yeah. Keep going. Give them good stuff, man.
Okay, cool. Well, when you feel what your brain is so patterned to do this, if your brain's been going 20, 30, 40 years doing the same shit different day, like you got to empty out the patterns or more. You got to empty out the patterns so that it can create new patterns. You got to clear the old patterns. So when you do that, you're emptying out the cup of like all the bullshit that's been there, that's been built upon, so that you can fill up your cup with all the things that you do want to have an experience, like the matriarchy or like the receiving or the opportunity or like the like loving so fully and so purposefully for yourself and for others. So when it comes to clearing that out, you want to get to the energetic source, not just focusing on one aspect, not just focusing on like mindset, for example, but like the three things, which would be thoughts, feelings, and actions. Those are the ways that the energy can be tied in, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where we are experts, is clearing out your teacup, allowing you to put new stuff in, and really focusing on the energy instead of just mindset. Because how many times are we focused on changing our mind and it don't work? So
100%.
yeah, that's 100%. And so I've done a lot of, I think you've done a lot of that work. I've done a lot of that work. It still shows up because it's like, yeah, I'm 44, man. My mom was a do it all kind of gal. So I learned it, right? And so then it's like, okay, well, we get to change that up.
Yeah.
Stop dropping the oven on my toe.
And then the third pillar is accessing more of your divine capacities, whether it's feminine, whether it's masculine. But once you empty the cup, it's so much easier to fill it back up. That way you're not like, if you're filling up a full cup, and that cup is full of dirty ass water, it's going to take a while for it to run clean again. I mean, it will eventually, but it'll take a while. So
It
it's
will
much
take a
easier if
while.
you pour that shit out
And start
and
new. Start fresh. What do you
start new,
want?
start fresh. Yeah. And I think some people are real not great at creating. And that because when you ask, what do you want? What
Yeah.
would you do if you had the time and on the money? People are like, I don't know. I don't know. Or I don't want this. I don't want to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the more that you can build your muscle in creation and getting like specific in what you want and what you want to create, that's why we're all looking at matriarchy right now. That's why we are really anchoring in the divine feminine, what the divine feminine looks like, and the thoughts, feelings, and actions that are needed for us to individually and collectively step more into the divine feminine so that we can be specific and create it and anchor it in together. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. Like, and it can be anything you want, right?
Hmm.
So matriarchy is the most, well, it would be a far more creative structure than patriarchy, right? So inside of matriarchy, it's the collaboration of everybody. It's the community of everybody. It's everybody as a whole being considered, and solutions coming from that viewpoint, that vantage point, right?
Hmm.
Like if we look at, I mean, the most wild thing is like Elon Musk, let's go to Mars. And you're like, let's save our planet here. Why
Hmm.
would we invest all that money to go to another planet when we could like heal the planet we have? And so I think that's like, and that was posed by a scientist who's a man. Like that's not a divine feminine thought necessarily. That's just like a collective consciousness thought.
Hmm.
He is having a divine thought though.
He's
You
having
know?
some thoughts. They're
Yeah.
coming for sure.
But the scientist that said that was like, he's like, if we have enough resources, why don't we put that to work in how to like heal our ozone layer here, make our
Yeah.
living here better? How do we like have a water system here versus let's go to Mars and try to create an ozone, try to create a water system, try to create nature? It's like, just put that here. We already
Yeah.
have it.
You're like throwing the
So
baby out with the bathwater
yeah,
ordeal.
so patriarchy ego is like, let's go to Mars and make it a big deal. And like matriarchy thinking is like, we have all this here and we have resources here. Let's heal and work with what we have here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a creative, new, thoughtful option.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, I think that is a lovely way to end the episode today. I feel like we covered all over the place, give you lots of nits and goodies and nuggets, if you will. But Tamara, thank you so much for being on with me again. Listeners, thank you for staying on with us, and we will see you all next week. Keep making magic, y'all. We love you.
Bye bye.
Thanks so much for tuning in. We're so grateful you'd spend an hour with us, shifting your perspective and expanding your divine feminine power. If today's conversation resonated with you, help us grow. Rate the show, subscribe, and keep following for more. And find me on LinkedIn. It's my favorite way to connect. Remember, we are here every Tuesday with new episodes. But until then, you can uncover your next level expansion with our Divine Feminine Archetype Quiz. Find out your personal Divine Feminine expression, the blocks keeping you from accessing it, and get a step-by-step pathway to embodying your authentic expression. Link is in the description. Or if you're ready to work with a coach to fully access your Divine Feminine capacities, schedule a one-on-one discovery session with me, also in the description. Until next time, keep honoring your Divine Feminine magic.